to D5 here at the 2024 Mission WDF Lakeside World Championship. This is the home of World Darts. This is Lakeside. We continue with the men's second round and we welcome back to the stage the winner of 2 world ranking titles this year. The former Polish Open champion, the reigning Isle of Man Masters and British Open champion from England, Carl Wilkinson. Opponent is the winner of 5 world ranking titles this year. The former WDF World Open champion, the reigning Hungarian Masters champion from Slovenia, the star, Benjamin Pratnemer.
Welcome along to day 5 of this year's Lakeside. The 2024 WDF World Darts Championship is beginning to hot up. We've completed round 1. He might have been underestimated prior to the tournament kicking off. He secured a win on the opening night against Jacob Taylor, and he's certainly someone who arrives into this on the back of good form, as does Benjamin. So, Andrew Sinclair, this one should be a good game.
Absolutely, it won't be the fastest of games. Benjamin's a very methodical player, but it should be, in terms of quality, very evenly matched. Benjamin has played very well on the tour this year, his best year to date. Picked up 5 ranking titles, the most recent of which just a few weeks ago in his native Slovenia. He beat Hannes Schneer in the Slovenian Masters final, but he's yet to win on this stage. Suffered a first round reverse to Davy Kerwin here last year, whereas Carl got the Lakeside crowd buzzing on Friday night when he beat Jacob Taylor.
It was a wonderful atmosphere that Carl Wilkinson played in when he was against Jacob Taylor. Obviously slightly different today.
It's actually been a busy few days for Carl since that game. He enjoyed his victory on Friday night, and then first thing on Saturday morning he was on the road down to Cornwall to play for Yorkshire in the Premiership of County Darts in the UK. And then on Monday came back here ready to prep for this game here against Benjamin this afternoon. So very much a man who loves the sport, and you can see the white rose of Yorkshire on his left arm. Something not lost on you, I'm sure, Mr. McCarthy.
No, there'll be no bias from me. Come on, Cat. No, I'm joking.
Yeah, he may not be the fastest player on the circuit, but I have to admit I have an absolute delight watching Benjamin's throw. I just think he's got such a lovely measured action.
75.
Carl does throw them with real ferocity, whereas Benjamin glides his darts into the board, but you know what you mean, it is a lovely throw to watch.
57. Carl require 158.
Was a win for Carl in the county at the weekend. Made life hard for himself, but 4-3 in the end.
98.
So a good win for him.
You require 136.
Good setup, so Carl Wilkinson should get 2 darts at tops. Nice safe one in the 20. That may have caught the first one, but double 10 is there to rescue it. Solidly done from the Barnsley man.
Yeah. Benjamin actually only first started playing darts just over a decade ago, came to the game fairly late. It's not an enormously popular sport in Slovenia. It's much more of a soft-tip electronic darts country, as is much of the former Yugoslavia. But Benjamin was, as so many players seem to be, down his local pub watching the football, and the team were short of a player, asked him to fill in, and although he didn't win on his opening game, he displayed a little bit of natural ability, and they said, you know, we'd like you to actually be part of the squad moving forward, and sort of got better from there. That was 2011, and then 2016 he decided to really step it up, start practicing a lot more, start travelling, and then won his first 2 WDF ranked titles in 2018, and then the following year played at Alexandra Palace for the first time and actually had match darts to beat Justin Pipe.
Response after 2 poor visits for Pratnemer in this leg. Winner will face the winner of our 3rd game this afternoon. Switzerland's Thomas Younghans takes on James Beaton, whose fan club have made their return. The James Beaton flag is once again posted up in front of us.
Carl was actually practicing for quite a long time with James earlier on. I wondered, as well as them being friends, I did wonder whether that was a sort of bit of tactical game planning from Carl, that of the players this afternoon, James is probably the one who's best able to replicate the speed and languid throwing style of the Slovenian opponent he's got here. So got himself in maybe the right rhythm in the practice room.
Carl require 147. 58. Benjamin require 24.
Double 12 then for parity. And this is getting awkward.
18.
It was a lovely setup shot from Benjamin, but double's not his friend. That's a very loose start from Carl.
Opted to go for the bullseye rather than treble 14, and then to add insult to injury, it's the double 17. He certainly didn't want that. Well, the early signs are not promising for Benjamin.
4. Carl required 23.
No, Carl was in very bullish spirits after his opening game win on Friday night, proudly stating that the bookmakers got it wrong. Some outlets had him as a 150-to-1 shot to win this year's tournament, which the man from Barnsley, an England international, felt was not particularly fair. Dispatched Jacob Taylor, and with the fact we've lost our top seed already in this top half of the draw, Carl will be eyeing up his chances of a deep run here on his Lakeside debut.
We've already got 1 third round tie secured in this section. It's the all-Belgian affair between François Schweyen and Brian Roman.
Yeah, I think Brian's been enormously impressive through his first 2 games. Saw him on the first 2 nights of the tournament. Looked somewhere back to his best, Brian. Had to do it the hard way on the opening night against Cornet Groeneveld, but against Martin Turner, after dropping that first set, looked fantastic and ended up with 7 180s in that one. So
100.
Looks like, Brian, at the moment, you'd make him favourite to do what he did back in 2022 and reach the quarter-finals.
there's one thing that we know Carl needs to improve upon from his first match. It's that doubling. Only 6 from 22 against Taylor. It's been promising so far, 2 from 3.
When he's won on the WDF tour this year, Carl, he's been very, very impressive. Had a fantastic weekend over in Douglas in the Isle of Man. Back in March, he won the Isle of Man Open, which isn't ranked, but he beat the Welshman Diane Roberts in the final of that one, and then won the ranked Masters tournament as well, which put him in a good spot, and then followed that up with a final in Wales and the title at the British Open.
74.
Well, what he has done is miss a set dart. Benjamin seeks to step in and punish. That's what he does. That's much better from the Slovenian.
Fourth leg is Benjamin to throw first. Game on.
It was Jim McEwen that Carl beat in that British Open final. And earlier in the year, in the Isle of Man, it was Neil Duff that he overcame in the Isle of Man Masters. So it's not just about getting to finals, it's about displaying pedigree.
120.
And he has got a great ability to switch on the board. That was one of the things that struck me most when I marked a couple of his games over at the World Masters weekend in Budapest. Carl, he's got great board management.
180.
Board management doesn't matter if you can hit 180s like that.
60.
Benjamin definitely getting warmed up after a tepid start.
An excellent start so far from the man they call the Star in this leg.
134.
Carl's got one of the more creative nicknames, the Sword. Benjamin wants double 14. Didn't use the first one as a guide.
Yeah, now left himself on the typically awkward double 7, although we've seen a couple of memorable outs on that so far this tournament.
Going straight for it. Good decision.
Yeah, Sophie McKinley hit double 7 to defeat Lisa Ashton Sunday night in the biggest upset of the tournament so far. And then we saw Paul Lim hit it to win his first leg back on the Lakeside stage in 30 years in what was a genuinely mesmeric performance last night against Moreno Blom.
140.
And if Paul continues to produce performances like he did against Moreno, don't discount the Singapore slinger.
55.
Absolutely not. I think he's got a very, very good chance this evening when he takes on his former Hong Kong teammate and close friend Kai Fan Leong. I've been practicing together for much of the last week, but Kai Fan didn't play at his best on this stage last year.
100.
And you don't come up against someone any more experienced than Paul Lim.
60.
Carl missed double 16 for a 106 checkout to win the set, and now you'd say Benjamin is in the box seat, although that was a poor visit.
Yep.
Good start. Good middle. And a very good end.
180.
Fantastic from Carl there, really punishing that poor visit from Benjamin.
$140. Carl requires 70.
Seen Benjamin take this out. And it was this route, double 8.
62. Benjamin
3 missed darts for the set. Double 8 for the first set. Oh, he's bust. Drags it a couple of millimetres too low.
You require 8.
Carl Wilkinson would have been annoyed to lose that first set, given he had 4 chances in the end.
First leg, it's Benjamin to throw first. Game on. $57. 99.
Carl Wilkinson, a former PDC Tour card holder, 2019 and 2020 was his last stint. Didn't really work out for him, and like so many players on tour in that period, COVID hampered them.
Yeah, I remember Carl had a good performance in the at-home league that the PDC ran during that pandemic-enforced hiatus, and
140.
the pandemic also had quite a profound effect on Benjamin. He is a trained physiotherapist, Mr. Pratnemer. He was working in a hospital in Maribor in Slovenia, where he's from, Slovenia's second biggest city, and then during the pandemic actually stopped working as a physio but wasn't playing darts, and he felt that the pandemic actually set his game back by a number of years, because he'd, as I said, he was a late comer to the game and had really peaked just before COVID, having played at that PDC Worlds for the first time, and felt as though his time was about to come.
130.
But then lost that momentum and has spent most of the last few years rebuilding, up to 10 WDF titles now for the Slovenian.
He wants the bullseye. We saw this from Laszlo Kadar yesterday.
133.
Not the same outcome for the Slovenian. That's given Wilkinson a scare.
That was a lucky bounce out for Carl. That looked like a treble to me.
I think it was.
No
No wonder there was a bemused look on his face. Double 8.
He's having to adjust his position here, Benjamin. Across to the right.
23.
If it comes inside.
47.
Finds the big number. Goes for double 8. We saw Lorena Rietbergen do this yesterday.
It's at the first leg, Carl Wilkinson.
And Carl does it as well. On Benjamin, this has certainly been his best year on the
Second leg, it's Carl's throw first.
WDF circuit. 5 titles, as I said. Very much playing his best starts. He's topped the Eastern European regional table for the first time, something I know he was
59.
particularly proud of, and actually cracked the top 10 of the WDF world rankings for a period of the season as well. So he's very happy with where his game is at, and he's getting back to where he believes he was supposed to be before COVID came.
180.
Did want to mention about Carl as well. We had the saga in his last game, while I was on commentary with you, of his Wikipedia page, which had been edited by Mr. Scott Waits. Apparently, that was the information I was given. His nickname had been changed to the Sword Swallower.
100.
Fed that intel. I shared that with the fans who are watching along, and then, let alone, I looked at his Wikipedia page on Saturday morning, and I saw
59.
that my comments about who had made the changes to his Wikipedia page had been edited into the 2024 section of Carl's page. So, interesting to see if the sword progresses any further, what we'll be likely to see again on there.
And I'm delighted to say that there's an actual citation of that.
You require 128.
I do remember before Justin Thompson's first game on the Lakeside stage, someone edited his Wikipedia page to say that Tomo's biggest claim to fame was wrestling a crocodile with his bare hands. Tomo assured me that wasn't true. But we have got our own croc in the players' area at the moment. Danny Porter's inflatable alley is still there. I had a debate with Peter Machin's wife over whether it was a croc or an alligator. As long as it doesn't bite me, I'm not too concerned.
Double 16.
38.
Pushed slightly wide, and Carl looking to double his advantage here with a straight turn. Will he go double-double?
60. Benjamin, you require 32.
Hit double 8 already.
24.
Can't hit it again.
You require 40.
Benjamin's wasting too many chances afforded to him.
30.
Carl doesn't take advantage.
Benjamin, you require 8.
Yep, you mentioned Carl's doubling not being fantastic in his opening round game against Jacob Taylor. Feel like it's been slightly better in this one, but Benjamin's really has not been up to it. But he finds that double 4 right in the bottom corners, close to busting that, as he did earlier on when he found the double 13.
Maybe indicates there's a slight bit of tension in the arm, which is to be expected. You are playing at a World Championship after all.
96.
Yeah, Benjamin, one of the best players in the Eastern European region in the WDF.
96.
Looking to be one of the 3 qualifiers from that region, the first of those 3 to actually pick up a win. This year we saw Patrick Kovac and Laszlo Kadar make early exits. But it'll be a slightly different look, I imagine, to the Eastern European region next year.
60.
Because a rule change in the WDF, Austria are now part of the East Europe region. So Hannah Schneer, who was so impressive in victory yesterday afternoon.
174.
Hannes and all the other Austrians that are well supported by Dietmar and the Austrian Federation will be travelling to events, I imagine. And yeah, Hannes and Benjamin already with a comfortable lead in that region. With the Slovenian Open and Masters weekend we saw earlier in November. Benjamin, a win and a semi-final. Hannes, a win and a final. So
95.
a dominant haul of points from those two. Benjamin played really well that weekend, but not been at his absolute best so far, but that's a lovely first start.
$137. You require the 136.
Been a high standard in this leg. 174 from Carl Wilkinson. I'm sure there'll be plenty of delight about that, particularly in the officials' room.
112.
Double 16.
80.
It's not been terrifically kind to him so far, Benjamin, but it is his preferred doubling route. Could have gone 12 for tops, which is what Wilkinson's doing here.
58. Benjamin, you require 32.
How awkward is that?
No
Turns out very.
You require 20.
Nothing awkward for Carl Wilkinson there. He's able to use the first dart. So often a missed dart can often turn out to be a good one because he can use it. Just slide it in off the barrel.
Yep, absolutely. And the first real sign of emotion in this game from Carl Wilkinson.
98.
Let out a bit of a guan after pinging that double 10.
$140. 96.
Some good cover shooting in this leg so far from Mr. Wilkinson. Really hasn't been the scoring power.
78.
It's a slightly looser visit for Benjamin, but it's really not been the scoring power that's been the problem for him so far. It's the finishing, and his preferred double 16 just hasn't been very kind to him.
83.
And you do wonder whether, if he goes into this break 2-0 down, he'll start thinking about some different setups to come off top, see if that can freshen up his approach, or whether he'll persist in the idea that I'll eventually find my range.
Yeah, it's 3 from 23 for Benjamin. Has to pick that up. There's no other way about it.
45. Benjamin, you require 143.
Chances on for another break of throw. He knows he's going to come back, so just a solid setup required.
59.
It's not great. He's him 84, which means he could only get one dart at the bullseye.
96. Benjamin, you require 84.
Target Carl probably could have utilised in that shot. For the bullseye.
59.
Touches the wire.
You require 83.
This would be a very big finish for Carl. He's going to have 2 at 16s.
And he only needs one of them.
Wilkinson.
This has been a terrific start to the contest for the Englishman. Benjamin Pratnemer's lakeside woes could continue on from last year. He's been far too wasteful on the doubles, missed the bullseye for a 164, and it's Carl Wilkinson who's in charge. He leads 2-0.
.com.
Welcome back to Lakeside, where Benjamin Pratnemer finds himself in big trouble. And if you were watching the holding clip, you'll have seen that Benjamin chose not to leave the stage during the break. He has been practicing solidly since. And it's certainly the doubles where he needs to get some good practice in, because he's only managed to hit 3 from 24. You're going to struggle in any game of darts. It doesn't matter who you're playing if your doubling percentage is that low. Carl's 6 from 16, so there has been some improvement from his game with Jacob Taylor on Friday evening. And he's got the throw in this third set, so Benjamin has got to find something pretty special, Andrew.
Absolutely. And it was interesting, you know, I mentioned towards the back end of that second set whether Benjamin should consider switching his setup shots, because the double 16 that he loves so much has not been a kind mistress to him so far in this game. But the majority of his practice during that little break there was on double 8 and double 16. So clearly he doesn't want to be deterred from where he feels most comfortable, but if he doesn't improve, I imagine
136.
that Wilkie will keep punishing him, because averages crept up for both players in that second set, and Carl just looks and clearly feels so incredibly comfortable up on that stage.
96. 85.
Carl was part of a strong Yorkshire contingent in this men's tournament, but he's the only one left standing, because his close friends and fellow Yorkshiremen Martin Turner and Darren Johnson are both exited the competition. Martin fell by the wayside on Saturday evening against Brian Roman, and then you were in the comms box yesterday afternoon for Darren falling by the wayside against Reece Colley, and what ended up being a very entertaining game.
Carl, the sole man standing, flying the white rose flag.
131. I require 164.
Good setup from Benjamin. Good setup from Carl.
Benjamin, you require 36.
Double 18 wasn't kinder to him, but neither is double 9.
28.
You can see him berate himself there, and he's really starting to showcase that frustration. That frustration will soon turn into despair if Carl Wilkinson keeps on winning legs. Bit of a steal. It was only a hold of throw for Carl, but nevertheless puts him in an even stronger position.
Yeah, this, you know, if it does trend towards defeat, it's going to be a tough one to take for Benjamin, because in the scoring stakes there's not been a lot between them, but I think probably Benjamin's actually been the slightly stronger in that department, but he cannot convert the chances that he's had. 3 out of 27 on the doubles now, which is just simply isn't going to be good enough against a player of any calibre in this field, but particularly someone who is playing as well and as relaxed as Carl. Trebles here would punish that weak visit.
Mission WDF Lakeside World Championship, and we welcome back to the stage the winner of 7 world ranking titles this year, the reigning Budapest Masters, 2-time Balaton Darts Masters, and 3-time Balaton Darts Classics champion from the Czech Republic, Cisarova. Their opponent is the reigning Pit to Port Classic and 2-time Taranaki Open champion, the number 8 seed from New Zealand, the Rascal, Mercer.
Well, that's definitely a Rascal walk-on choice for Desi Mercer, making her return to the Lakeside stage for the first time in 2 years. On debut, didn't go to plan against Vicky Prum of Sweden, but she's got another chance here against one of the most impressive performances of the week so far, from Cisarova of the Czech Republic, averaging just shy of 78, which is actually the second highest recorded average we've ever got from her. And the scoring in particular was outstanding. I think she's happy to be here, judging by her demeanour on stage. But she's certainly got a tough contest against the Czech woman, who was outstanding against Anka Zylstra, limiting her much more experienced opponent to virtually nothing in terms of the doubles. There was loads of ton 40s. She kept those darts straight and true. And even though Desi's the seeded player, Raymond Smith, I think she might come into this one as the underdog.
Yeah, absolutely. Yika in that first game was phenomenal. But so in control, and just, yeah, it was really, really good to see somebody on debut just dancing to their own rhythm.
Couldn't really keep the smile off her face when she was throwing in that first game. She knew that she'd made a very strong start and just flowed with confidence from thereafter.
It'll be an interesting test. Desi's probably one of the slower players on tour. She's very, very focused individual on the dartboard, off the dartboard. Well, you'll see why she gets the nickname Rascal.
.60 to start, but 3 very nice straight darts.
And that's the hallmark of her first performance. Solid start from Desi as well. I know Desi's a little bit blasé at times when it comes to her preparation and what have you. She's one of those people that absolutely loves to have fun. But when she gets on the dartboard, very much all business.
You can see from her throwing style that the left arm really does stick out, presumably for balance purposes.
Yeah, just a little counterbalance there, keeps herself grounded.
100.
Nice set from Desi.
Decent introduction to this year's championship.
Just a bit wayward there. And it seems Desi's got a little bit of the jitters at the moment, trying to get everything in the right place.
In terms of the rolling averages, we know that Yitka does have a higher level of performance in her, so if she plays her own game, doesn't get nervous on stage, we would expect her to win.
140.
There's the first of those 140s that was so regular against Anka.
Yeah, she seems to be taking the pace quite nicely as well. Desi can play a really good grinding game, much the same as she's showing it here in the first set. Where she can just pick away at triples.
151.
Errant dart there. Desi would like a nice ton or a 140. Try and put the pressure on that 108. I'll leave a bogey.
You require
6 for
108.
108.
Not the greatest counting there from Desi, so Yitka gets 6 darts to take out 108.
I like that approach there. I mean, most people on 108 would look at the 19 routes, or some like to go a little bit of a funny way, but she's setting up for a long game here. So getting the ton to leave the 8, try and build in some confidence, get that process established early.
70.
It's a good pickup for Desi.
You require 63.
63 is no gimme.
And it's one of those funny numbers because no matter what you hit, it doesn't leave you a favourable double. It leaves you sort of the minors.
No double left for Yitka, missing the big number. 35 left.
It's unfamiliar territory for you. I guess she was so clinical in that first game. But this may be an opportunity for Desi now. She nicks this one.
Desi, you require 96.
Try and chip away a little bit at the early confidence of Yitka.
It's to be treble 17.
Got it, tops.
She's taking her time.
Game
So
charge of the
wonderful
first
shot
leg.
from Desi.
Desi Mercer. Second leg is Desi to throw first. Game on.
Well, after the poor first start at the treble 20, Desi rescued that brilliantly well.
Expectation, you know, that's something for me to capitalise on. So it's definitely a factor.
85. Desi, you require 164.
Desi just setting herself as she does. Loose start gives you an opportunity here. Should give us some confidence to really attack that 140. You've got to make sure of that first start in these situations.
41. No score.
Thinking about it a bit too
You
much.
require 91.
But we saw Desi hit two darts for 91. Over for the 16, which looks like she's going up top.
Does he require 20?
I've got to say, I'm not a fan of Desi's approach at the moment. It's sort of, you want to move into the board. You want to be standing behind the encroachment line and moving into the board. That's how you're going to set your line over your target. And Desi's sort of entering before the encroachment line.
48.
Good to see her come back behind that little red square there and then move in straight at the target, eyeballing the target as you move in. It'll help your body set its line.
In shot and a second leg.
It's first start and a double for Yitka, and she's hit it.
Third leg, it's Yitka to throw first.
That's just steady.
Yeah, I think that was the only thing that was missing from Yitka's game in the first one. Is the 1632 route. She was outside on the left, but this time dead bang in the centre.
60.
And solid opener there. I just see Desi comes in here and she's walking straight into the hockey line, and then trying to find her line from there. I'd like to see the stand back, have a look at the board and find out where your line sits, and then move into the hockey line.
$70.
So much room open, you don't want to bust.
132.
Made sure of it.
Desi, you require 108.
Well, at least what she has done is leave 48, which she took out in the last leg.
Yeah, confidence breeds confidence. And Desi has to go 57. And that leaves some
You
nasty
require
as well.
48.
It's a good cider.
Aim shot to the third leg. Yitka Cisarova.
It's been an opposite performance from Yitka compared to game
Fourth
one. The scoring
leg is
power
Desi to
hasn't been
throw
there yet,
first.
but 2 from 3 on the
Game
doubles. She'll have no complaints at that percentage.
No, if you're hitting the doubles, yeah, that's what's going to win you the game ultimately. You don't need the big scores. You just need to get yourself to the opportunity, and when it comes, she's looking pretty solid over it. She's staring it down now. She's confidence is starting to come up. His last leg she was hitting 20, 20, 20. Now she's finding the triples. When you got the confidence, hit the triples at the back end and then hit the double. You just need to bring that little bit that opportunity forward. But if the opportunity presents itself, as we've seen with the Australians earlier in the week, not starting well, scoring well in the middle pieces to get themselves down to a double, but by that time it's too late. At the moment, Yuka has time.
43.
So on the back of the 5 from Desi, you would have backed Yuka at least the three straight darts there, but Desi's got to take an opportunity to jump back in. And 5 seemed to be the order of the day. It looks like a walk in front plus an extra dart. With Desi going to be needing a few switches here.
60.
Yuka setting up the leg nicely.
Lots of Desi's darts going high and left.
77.
It's a good pickup. That's probably what she needs to do a little bit more. If you're going to the 5 on the first dart consistently, adjust the target. She forced a mistake out of Yuka.
36.
Desi seems to be throwing a bit faster at the moment. I'm wondering whether or not her own speed's getting to a. She's not as methodical as she normally is.
It's possibly the case because it's not like Yitka's a rapid thrower either.
140.
That's much better.
I know it bothered me. My first game at Lakeside, I played Davey Van Balen, and he was a very, very slow player, and I had a problem with my flights keep popping off. And I could sense the frustration in the crowd with the timing of things, so I tried to throw a little bit faster than I normally did.
You require 94.
Yeah, but in these instances, I soon learned after that game, I've just got to forget it and play my own pace, because if I try and speed myself up for the speed of the game, I'm probably going to do everything a disservice by going longer. If I take my time, I'll finish the games quicker, and that's ultimately where we want to be. Higher quality darts may take a little bit more time,
29.
but the overall time for the game will be less in the end.
How easy is it to fall into the trap of playing to someone else's pace?
Yeah, absolutely. It was one thing that I'll credit myself when I played Michael Smith. I didn't realise how fast he was. You see it on TV, but when you play it, it's very, very different. I played MVG in Melbourne. I think this was 2018. And yeah, he throws very fast. And I got caught up into the speed, into his speed, which got him, just got him into a rhythm, into a groove. And then the 2 weeks or a week later, I played Michael Smith, who was faster again. And I had to sit back and get into my own rhythm. But I mean, I had to learn through copying a caning from MVG first.
45.
But when I sat in my rhythm, I played a lot better. You know, I
Does he
think I
require
averaged 89
137?
against MVG and 96 against Michael Smith. You know, just by stepping back, playing at my speed. Desi needs a big one here. Up for 18 or staying down? Went for the 20.
43.
But yeah, you can't. The speed
You
can
can
ultimately
require
determine.
20.
Well, not a lot of players back home can't play slow players. They just too much time to think.
In charge and the first set.
There's the first set for Cisarova.
And Desi be ruined that
Second
second
set,
leg.
first leg is Desi to
Multiple
throw
darts
first.
at a double.
Game on.
Desi's angles are a little bit off at the moment. It's really difficult because you're looking for like a half a degree change in your front foot, or you know, just move your back foot that slight little bit out to the left to close your shoulders off. And once you close your hips in, then you close your shoulders off, and then we won't get that twist as you're throwing the dart. But it's so minor. You make that mistake of overcorrecting, as Peter Machin did last night. He was throwing for the 1 through a 5.
123.
And then overcorrected and went straight into the 5, you know. 11111, overcorrect straight into the 5, and it was a big 5.
It's only a 4-point difference in the averages, but there just feels to be more control from Yitka. Desi very up and down.
Yeah, Desi's playing well at the back end of legs at the moment, but I'm not putting enough pressure on the start.
81.
But she's starting well this leg. She's put 2 good scores back to back. And this is where Yuka was really good in the first game against Anka.
60.
Even if Anka did come at her, Yuka just stayed solid and consistent. Waited for the triple instead of chasing it down. Because when you chase it down, that's where the 1s and 5s are going to come from, because you're just going to push too much.
45.
Winner of this will take on the winner of our women's game this evening. 2-time world champion Bo Greaves makes her return as she seeks a lakeside hat-trick. She goes up against Finland's Kirsi Vinnikainen, a very capable player in her own right.
Good set from Desi, a lot more authority in that throw, and she can hear as it hitting the board. Yika in the triple at a time when she looks to get back in the behind in the leg. Brings herself back to par. These are times, as we said before, you just need to keep the first dart straight.
90.
It's a good pickup. On those shots there, you don't want to hit the 55 and leave the 122, and you're going to be in an awkward position where you have to hit a triple. You know, in the first dart, you know, or move all around the board. You want to be looking at shots like 107 or 100, where you've got options, more options. You can get to your favourite numbers a little bit easier.
Does he require 87?
I don't know how many other players practice, but I always try and pick 3 triples apart from the triple 20, because obviously that's where you're going to spend a lot of your time. But 3 triples and 3 doubles, that's what you're going to work on and try and bring yourself back to those numbers. So you find the ones that you hit more consistently, like I hit a 42 quite well, I hit a 48 quite well, and a 51. 57's probably not my favourite, so if we're on shots like 77, 57's not is about on par to me as it is a 45.
65. You require 170.
But where I can't use those trebles, I've got 3 doubles as backups. Try and get myself to those. Down for 57. That's a great pickup. Tops.
77.
Maybe a slightly
Desi, you
best last
require
start.
22.
Desi chose maybe unwittingly to leave double 11.
It's an 8, so 14 left.
You require 40.
Yitka was exceptional up here the other day.
In charge of the first leg.
And is again.
Yitka Cisarova. Second leg is Yitka to throw first. Game on.
Some worrying signs for Desi here. It's a good pickup. Keeps the pressure on Desi. It's a good flow from Desi there, but not normally her speed. It's an unfortunate bounce out.
It's
a lot faster from Desi. She seems to have a little bit more venom in her throw at the moment, though.
Yitka prefers to glide them in almost.
Yeah. If you have a look at Yitka's arm speed, it sort of tails off at the end. But at that release point, everything just flows so smooth. It's almost like she gets the dart to the release point and then stops throwing effectively.
85.
So at the release point, it's just like a little push through and then a wash up of pace. The arm speed all but stops.
45.
But if you're getting to that release point comfortably, that's all that matters. This is the fastest I've ever seen Desi play. But she's playing with purpose at the moment. When hitting the back of the stem.
117.
But a nice pickup all the same.
As you require 156.
Quite a risk to go for the 19s because a single would have left 159.
Yeah, I think it was the same with
100.
Dennis Nelson yesterday. He just lost the confidence to stay up there. Once you get that,
require 121.
you think, oh, I hit the back of the stem there. I'll probably do it again. So move down. But yeah, 17 probably a better option.
As you require 56.
16 tops to break back.
Now double 16.
40.
Only gave herself one
Yielka
chance after missing a big
requires
number.
69.
Yeah, 18s or 10s, or going at it. 10 for tops.
49.
A must hit shot for
Leslie
Desi here.
requires 16.
Much like that double 10 in the second leg of the first set. Further
No
away.
score. Yielka, you require 20.
Poor adjustments from Desi. Yielka wants double 10 to move within a
Shot
leg.
in the second leg. Yielka Cisarova. Third leg is Desi to throw first. Game on.
5 from 11 on the doubles.
You'll take that any day of the week. Anyone would.
$85.
The scoring power is there and thereabouts, but the pegging's let her down quite a bit. I said that second leg of the first set, I think that's hurt her confidence a bit.
60.
Gives Yielka an opportunity to take control of this leg.
$121.
Straying to the ones. Last time she did that, I think she went 60-60, so fingers crossed for Desi anyway.
81.
But she's staying in touch with the leg.
Scoring's not been too bad from Desi.
It just seems to tail once we get under that 180 mark.
85.
Thinking about the doubles, probably overthinking the setup shots. And then when your first start's not going where you want it to, it just throws all the plans out the window. So it's probably a better idea just to try and get under that, like blast down to under 100 as fast as you can and then figure it out.
$135.
You said some days it just doesn't work. You can try and do all the board management and setup shots and try and hope for fair with the flying, but it's not always the case. Eric Bristow used to famously do it. He used to just throw anything and everything. They throw the kitchen sink at you until there was two darts. Hell, a 2-dart shot outshot. He says, just leave me. If I need to hit a single and I've got 2 darts, a double in my hand, I'll hit it. So any 3-dart shot that didn't require a triple, you're in trouble. So maybe just go down that line for a bit. Especially in games like these where Yielka is about 188 at the moment, you're on 90, but you've blown 2 darts trying to go for the setup. So just blast it down to the lowest number you can. Obviously without getting down to a madhouse or a 3 or a 7 or something like that.
So look at the bullseye.
65.
Good effort.
Yielka, you require 128.
$60 for pull. Back over to 19s. Oh, sorry, 18s. It's a good setup shot, puts a lot of pressure on the 25.
Desi, you require 25.
Desi's on wood now. Misses. Gotta go inside and use that barrel.
9.
Another example of her going further away.
Edgar, you require 36.
And that's more nerves than anything. You get a little bit tight in the fingers, and as I said, once you get tight in the fingers,
Okay.
you're going to pull.
That's
Well, it wasn't a standout performance from Cisarova as it was against Anka Zilstra, but nevertheless, she was too strong for Desi Mercer of New Zealand. She was very happy with the way her finishing improved from her first match. Scoring needs a bit of improvement. She'll face either Bo Greaves or Kirsi Vinikainen in the quarterfinals.
Ladies and gentlemen, a massive round of applause for Desi Mercer. And into the quarterfinals, Cisarova. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, another 10-minute break, 10 minutes, and we will be back with our next match, back in the men's competition. Thank you.
Tick home.
round here at the 2024 Mission WDF Lakeside World Championship. And we welcome back to the stage a young man enjoying his Lakeside World Championship debut. The winner of 5 World Youth Ranking titles, this year's Irish Open finalist. From England, it's James Beaton. We now welcome to the stage last year's Cyprus Classic and Cyprus Masters champion, the former Swedish Open and Swiss Open champion, from Switzerland, the number 9 seed, TJ Thomas Younghans.
Well, you could just hear then that the James Beaton fan club have returned. The young man who was only promoted to the Lakeside field because of Alexander Mercer's Challenge Tour exploits. That secured him a spot at Alexandra Palace. And Beaton is making hay while the sun shines. He displayed real scoring prowess in his victory over Bradley Kirk, the all-English affair. He now faces the number 9 seed Thomas Younghans, who is one of the WDF nomads in the field. He tends to travel and play much of the tour. And this is a meeting between two players who are familiar with each other. They played at the Swiss Open and Helvetia Open back in May. A tournament most notable for the checkout of the year landed by Roger Schenner, the 130 against Brian Wybrow. But in all seriousness, this one could be a really good contest. So Dan McCarthy and Alex Moss of the Weekly Darts Cast has come to join me for this one. How do you see it going?
Good afternoon, everyone. Yeah, I think this is a really hard one to call in this, the men's second round. You've got Thomas Younghans who's coming into this as a seed for the first time. He last year made his debut, won a couple of games to get to the last 16. James Beaton, we saw his debut over the weekend. So, yeah, for me, I can't really call a favourite in this one. But, yeah, shout out to Roger Schenner, that 130 checkout. We do our Weekly Darts Cast Awards at the end of every year. We do a checkout of the year award, and that 130, I think that's going to take some beating.
I'll be voting for it.
I think we all will be, because whoever wins the awards, we get them to send in an acceptance video. So I think Roger's one would be quite amusing.
39.
But you mentioned that the James Beaton fan club, obviously his debut at the weekend, the first round game against Bradley Kirk, a much different atmosphere that he experienced for that debut. Very boisterous, very noisy. This time round, this afternoon, it's a much more quieter affair. And the winner of our first game this afternoon, Carl Wilkinson, I've just been listening to his interviews backstage, and he said it's like a completely different venue. Like he played his debut on Friday night, had a big crowd in front of him. We're all singing Stand Up If You Love the Darts, but today a much quieter game for him. So yeah, it's different for these players that have played at the weekend to then come back and play in front of this atmosphere.
Slow start from Younghans, who had his best year in the WDF last year. Won multiple titles, the Cyprus Masters and Classic, Swedish Open and Riga Open. Not being quite as fruitful this year, but he is still at least having deep runs in tournaments.
Yeah, he's accumulating the points. He's got him here as a seed for the first time. James Beaton not going to take the 170 in this opening leg. Wouldn't have had to if he'd have got the 2 treble 20s, because Thomas Younghans far back on 247.
Last 170 that we saw on the Lakeside stage was in last year's final, Andy Barton's against Chris Landman.
85, James Beaton 140.
Yeah, I don't think there was many things that Andy Barton's was missing last year. A very consistent and impressive Lakeside campaign for him that ended up with him walking away with that title.
Could look at the bullseye here.
58.
25 left to 2 darter, but Younghans decided to go for the 18s. May not matter. We saw in Beaton's win over Bradley Kirk. The first leg was very scruffy in terms of doubles.
40.
This one's got potential to be the same.
Yeah, So 104 for Younghans. Starts on the 18s. That's 50 left. 1 dart at tops for a break. And he gets it. It was a scrappy leg, but they all count exactly the same. 21 darts, but he has broken James Beaton in this opening leg. And you'll see Younghans there on his shirt. He's got the Mission logo at the weekend. He was announced as one of their new signings as part of Team Mission. Came to visit the HQ and the studio in Bolton a couple of days earlier. So he's been in the UK for a little while and enjoying himself. I've had the pleasure of meeting him a couple of times, and he certainly loves his Swiss chocolate. He's been walking into the lakeside each day with bags and bags of chocolate, sharing them round, and yeah, I'm sure he'll be hoping to have a few celebratory chocolates in an hour's time if he can get the win here.
Well, Andrew Sinclair very kindly has given one to me.
That's very nice of you, Andrew. I'll be getting my one off him after this.
140.
Good response though for Beaton. Back-to-back 140s. Disappointing to lose that opening leg against the throw, having had the first chance at a double, but yeah, this is a good response.
Did mention at the top of the game that Younghans plays a lot of the WDF tour. Beaton just plays a lot of darts full stop, whether it's WDF, Challenge Tour, Development Tour. Anywhere he can find a dartboard, he'll go and have a chuck, and he very nearly secured his lakeside place for next year's tournament, the Irish Open, but lost the last leg decider to Marco Cantella. What a response this has been. Double 12 for an 11 darter. Double 6.
69. Troubleshooting card 71.
2 more missed doubles for Beaton, so Younghans. He stole that opening leg. 18 for tops. Hit it in the first leg.
35.
Goes high this time round.
Troubleshooting card 12.
An opportunity that Beaton maybe didn't think he'd get.
And
he takes out double 6.
Third leg is James through first.
Leg he deserved to win because the scoring was sensational. Break straight back, so nothing wrong with the mental fortitude in the early stages.
No, a very good response there from James Beaton, and you mentioned he plays a lot of darts, the WDF, the Challenge Tour, Development Tour. Also played Q School at the start of this year and very close to getting his tour card, finishing 12th on that UK Order of Merit. The top 10 ended up getting tour cards, so he missed out on legs difference in the end. Goal differential, as me and Burton call it on the weekly darts cast, but he was very close, and after 2 of the days he had 0 points on the board. Got to a quarter final, got to a last 16, and losing 6-0 to Alex Spellman on that final day. If he'd have beaten him, that could have been him with a tour card, but just shows he's heading in the right direction, because Q School, we know, is such a hard tournament to go into, so to be that close, that will give him some confidence going into this year, and it's ending with this trip to the lakeside.
And especially at just 21 years old as well. There aren't many other players of a similar age playing at a high standard.
100.
Yeah, I think his best run on the Development Tour this year was a semi-final, quarter-final on the Challenge Tour, so wherever he's going, he's making deep runs, and to get to the lakeside, yeah, he was a late call-up, but put himself in that position to get the call-up and being higher up in the rankings. Looking at a 170 again here.
Troubleshooting card 140.
Goes trebleless, so Younghans, outside chance, finds the treble. Is he going to stay there? He tried to get another treble, and he busts the score. That is a disaster for Younghans.
Troubleshooting card 130.
Well, I think he took that last dart for granted, because you could see him pick the pace up, thinking it was just going to float into a single 20.
I mean, sometimes in that situation we see players aim for the double top and be overcautious and sometimes put it out the board, but let's see if he can get it this time. Well, he's not going to bust his score now, but he's going to give Beaton 3 darts to double 10 to take the lead in this first set. He takes that opportunity with the first start. That's back-to-back legs for Beaton.
I think James Beaton is a lucky boy.
41.
I've seen 140 taken a couple of the more unusual routes. I've seen Shane McGurk take it on the Rob Cross route, 2 treble 18s for double 16. And then Hannah Schneer with treble 20, 2 tops.
Yeah, that was a great game yesterday. Probably one of the games of the tournament so far. Just a shame it was first 2 sets, best of 3, because we could have certainly watched that over a longer format. Both players putting on a good performance yesterday. And Kadar with that 164, which was pretty special to see.
140.
Another 140 for Beaton. One there for Younghans. You want to take this first set all the way. Coming downstairs. Picking off another treble to get down to that finish first after 9 darts.
One of the most difficult finishes though, 139.
60. James Younghans, 130.
Strike a significant blow.
This for the set. Needed to be perfect. Now be looking for a treble 20 to leave himself tops.
59. Thomas Younghans, 120.
Great dart. Double top for Thomas Younghans.
80. James Younghans, 80.
Just above the wire. That would have been his second ton plus finish of this match already. But Beaton for the opening set. Comes across the oche to find another single 20. Comes even further away for tops.
Let's give Sean in the first set.
It's the first set to James Beaton. Lost the opening leg after missing doubles, but had a little bit of fortune there with the 140 bust from Younghans, but he's made the most of it.
Second set, first leg. It's Thomas to throw first. Game on.
It looked like he came across to the right-hand side to use the right side of the tops bed, but it just careered over the top of the 2 previous darts.
57.
Carl Wilkinson is the next challenge for the winner here after his straight sets win over Benjamin Pratnemer.
58.
Despite having a lower average than the Slovenian, set plays about doing the right things at the right time.
Yes, an open quarter of the draw, I'd say. At the top of it, you've got the 2 Belgian players there, Francois Schweyen and Brian Roman. You'd probably say Roman is going to be the favourite in that quarter to get through to the semi-finals on Saturday, but these 2 players up on the stage here, they'll be fancying their chances of making that final weekend, especially with a few wins under their belts, which they can pick up here over the next few days. And it could be James Beaton with more darts like that.
No question that Beaton is a real talent, but like a lot of players his age, it's about finding consistency. He's one of those players where you're not particularly surprised either way if he averages 100 or 75.
Yeah, it can be very up and down, and that is the difference between the elite level players that are producing those big averages week in, week out, and yeah, we know there's so many players out there that can produce those levels. It's just doing it more often. Younghans having a think here to leave himself a finish.
95.
And that's not the way to do it.
Obviously, he wasn't thinking.
But he won't be punished if Beaton can't leave himself handy.
56.
Chose not to persist on the 20s, even though he could have left 160, which is a theoretically much easier finish than 164.
81. James Younghans, 164.
Fast start there for Younghans. Could make a difference. It could end up being a shot at the ball. If he'd have hit a single 20 with that last start, he would have had a shot on the outer ring. So it will be the ball for this opening leg.
Has a glance at James's score. Knows he has to go for it.
And he gets it. Had to do some moving around the hockey.
40.
But can't hit the tops.
86.
Elected not to move there.
Could it be the bullseye again?
61.
Just outside.
40.
Beaton comes back to the board with 3 darts at tops.
Double 10.
No score. Thomas Younghans 25.
This for a 2-0 lead in the set. Not a bad guide. And he pins it. Younghans with a 2-0 lead in this second set, now throwing to level up the match. And we saw a little bit of the Richie Bonnett's in that last start from James Beaton, lifting his back leg. Richie, someone that's been up on that stage before, he knows what it's all about. He's won the World Championship. But Thomas Younghans starting to warm to the task now. I think he lost that opening set. A few things didn't go his way. Obviously the 140 busting that could have played on his mind, but he's responded well here, got the opening 2 legs. Had a little bit of fortune as well with those missed doubles from James Beaton, but you want to get this leg 1, go off the stage. Well in the game at 1-1, but these aren't the darts he's looking for. It's good grouping, just not where he wants it.
22.
Margins are so fine in darts. Combined 3 millimetres away from a 180.
Certainly was, and Beaton
140.
making him pay the price for that visit of 22 with a 140. But he's finding his range again, Younghans.
180.
With a maximum there. That's how you put a visit of 22 behind you.
45.
Now I'll be looking to get this leg 1 within the next 2 visits.
133.
Another good score there. Gets him down to an 80 finish. Well, Beaton there looking for the ball at 25. Would have left the 167, but the dart bouncing out means that Younghans will have 6 darts to get this 80 done.
There it is, a clean sweep in the second set for Thomas Younghans. James Beaton not being given too many chances. Younghans certainly raising his game from the first set. A finely poised game here at Lakeside. It's Thomas Younghans 1, James Beaton 1. Younghans took control of that second set. A lovely ball finish on 87, followed by scores of 25 and 80. Ensured that he won all 3 legs. James Beaton only having darts in the second, darts at double in the second leg of that second set. So the momentum may be with Younghans. So did the break come at the wrong time. We are about to find out as Marco Meyer gets ready to shout game on. But Alex Moss, that was a good response from Thomas Younghans after a bit of a ropey opening set, obviously with the bus score in there.
Yeah, just
First leg is teams should throw
would have wanted
first.
there, getting back on level terms, and for James Beaton as well. This is a longer format playing in the second round, but his first round game won the first set, lost the second set 3-0 to Bradley Kirk before getting back and winning 3-1 to get himself over the line. So he's had that experience of having a good start and being pegged back and then getting over the line in the end. But we are going to play down to a finish now. The next 2, possibly 3 sets to determine who is going to play Carl Wilkinson in that third round.
96.
Finds the treble with his last start. We talked about it earlier, the atmosphere very much different for James Beaton compared to his first. And at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if it's 9 darts or 99 darts, they all count the same. Nice visit there from Younghans. You're not going to see too much in the way of emotion from him. Keeps a pretty strong poker face up there.
96.
He's been around the venue most days since the tournament started. As I mentioned, he's come to the UK early, got to the lakeside at the weekend,
140.
soaked up the atmosphere over the weekend and yesterday. Yeah, I spoke to him earlier. He was looking forward to getting back up there and getting his campaign underway.
119. Top shooting corner, 170.
Both players have been left on the big fish a few times in this match.
Yeah, they've been teasing it. I don't think there's been too many times where they've left it and it's been on the finish, so they might not have gone for it. But that's a great setup there from Younghans. Leaves himself 36 after 12 darts.
83.
Quality
Top shooting corner, 36.
Is to level up the set.
Team shooting corner, 103.
For a break of throw. Double 12. He's had problems here before.
79.
Does so again.
Top shooting corner, 80.
Grimace on his face, says everything.
Yeah, that was a chance for 2-0. This double 9 for Younghans to level it up.
9.
Goes inside with the last start. Missed opportunities for Younghans. James Beaton
Team shooting corner, 24.
for a 2-0 lead and to throw for the third set. One dart left at double 6.
Rescue short of the second dart. James Beaton.
That's rescued him a few times in this match. Double 6.
Yeah, he elected to go for that double 6 in the last leg when he was on 15. Some players will see go 7 double 4, but double 6 seems to be a favourite of his.
Third leg is James to throw first. Game on.
Has a little smile to himself. Maybe something in the crowd was humouring him there.
93.
I am fascinated by the mechanics of the Beaton throw. There's a long downwards prod that reminds me of Andy Hamilton. There's a crane of the neck. A lot going on.
There is, and important to get it right as well, because if one part of it fails, then that's going to have a knock-on effect on the whole throw. So it's yeah, when he gets it right, I mean, he's had a few maximums. Could be another one here.
180.
That's how to do it. Little nod in the background. looking to do to Younghans what he did to him in the last set, and that is make a clean sweep of it, 3-0.
.140 would leave a finish. 180 would leave a far better one. Can you fill it up, Thomas?
140. James shooting bar
The bare
147.
minimum that was required with Beaton on 147.
But he has left that 170, and this time he will be having a go at it with his opponent on a finish.
47. Thomas shooting bar 170.
There's the first part. Can he get another one in there? Yes, he can. Bullseye for the 170.
130.
Goes outside.
James shooting bar 100.
If you're going to miss, though, a single 18 to leave yourself 32, he's not going to have to burn a dart if he comes back to the board. And he might not. This is double 10 for the third set.
90.
Goes inside.
Thomas
So
shooting bar 32.
Younghans 3 darts here.
Double 16 to keep the set alive.
And that's game shoulder the third line.
And there it is.
Thomas
Been
shooting.
trading legs in threes, but that breaks the little pattern.
4 targets, Thomas to throw first. Game on.
That was a break of throw, so Younghans with the darts in this fourth leg. If he can hold throw here, we will go all the way. And that will be
140.
easily the most important leg of the match. We're either going to be 2-1 to Beaton or 2-1 to Younghans. And the winner of it will be one set away from a place in the last 16.
91.
Younghans, a Swiss international. You brought up the Swiss Open earlier, and Roger Skater's 130 being the best 3 darts of that tournament. I've got to mention Brian Wybrow, the manager of Connor Scott, who's played here at the Lakeside. He's been in touch and said that his 180 in that match was the best 3 darts.
We've got to mention that, or did he tell you to mention that?
He told me to mention that, or I can never interview Connor again, so I've had to follow his instructions there. Connor Scott, a player that did qualify for the Lakeside this year, won the Denmark Open. He was very close to come into the Lakeside. I know it was a decision that he was umming and ahhing about whether he wanted to come to Lakeside or come to Ali Pali. Felt like he had unfinished business, really. Made his debut here a couple of years ago, was one of the favourites. He was a very new tour card holder back then, was allowed to play in the Lakeside. Went out in the first round to Mr. Intensity, Sean Burt, and yeah, got back to the Lakeside, but deciding to go to Ali Pali in a few weeks' time. And look at the year that he's had. He's going to go there with a lot of confidence behind him and a chance to break into that world's top 64.
41.
Did he tell you to say all that as well?
I'm just reading off my phone. He's just giving me all this info. But this is good from Beaton. Another maximum.
180. Thomas shooting bar 135.
And all of a sudden, when it looked like we were going all the way, he's going to get a chance to get this set done in this leg.
97.
90 required for Beaton.
James shooting bar 90.
Few possible routes he can go here.
Bullseye.
65.
Oh, that's a set dart miss. Scoring from Beaton has been fantastic in this third set. Finishing not so much. Younghans chooses to split. It's a wise choice from a wily old player.
Fifth flag is James to throw first. Game on.
Here we go, then we are going all the way in this third set. Beaton with the darts, he's got the advantage. Younghans, he's won the last 2 legs.
95.
Beaton, he had that set dart, couldn't have got much closer on the bullseye. Clipped the wire.
81. 100. 85.
Focus there on the eyes of Younghans. Did not blink during that visit. All focus on the treble 20. Gets it with his last dart. Beaton though. Another treble would get him down to a finish first. Younghans, he's going to need to fill up the treble. Thomas Younghans, the trebles have just dried up in the last couple of visits, and he's left the 147 that Beaton just had a go at. It could have been a lot smaller for him if he'd have picked off 1 or 2 more trebles. That's a great first start, double 15.
That's good shot of
Cleanish alive. 90 and 2 darts for James Beaton. Takes
first line. It's Thomas the first. Game on.
Chucks his darts on the table. You're going to need to pick them up in a moment because you need another set.
Big test for Beaton because he won't be used to playing matches of this length, especially if we go to a 5th set.
Yeah, Younghans, he's got a little bit of experience of playing these longer games at the Lakeside last year. Was a 3-1 winner against Kai Fan Lung in the 2nd round. The 3rd round lost a great game with Chris Lamb and 3-2. Lamb and going on to get to the final against Andy Bartons.
100.
It's a game at the start we said we weren't sure who was going to win. There wasn't really a clear favourite.
Five 180s.
When he gets that first start, it just looks so inviting for 2 more to follow. And Younghans
140.
Most returned the favour with a maximum of 140.
Thomas required 144.
Doesn't back up the maximum with a big score, so Younghans looking at 2 treble 18s for double 18 for a 144.
Yeah, let's give Sean the first line. Thomas Younghans.
Great finish from TJ.
Second line is teams to fill first. Game on.
The man formerly known as the Silent Assassin, killing off that 144.
60.
Earning respect from Beaton along the way. Nice fist bump offered.
That's a good finish there from
58.
Younghans. Those last couple of visits, the 140, then the 144.
57. 80.
Loses a dart there, only scores 80. Slight lead after 6 darts, but Beaton right back in the treble now. Has to move across.
112. $60. 58.
Scores drying up a little bit for both players. 133 would leave 170.
95.
Not quite, but a key part of the leg here, because Beaton back in the treble will get down to a finish.
99.
It is a 127, but Younghans, a couple of trebles here, 180 would be perfect for him, but a couple of trebles will get him down to a very manageable finish.
58.
Leaves the
James
50.
Unicorn 127.
Beaton gets the first go.
Treble 19.
77.
All
Unicorn
tidied up.
150.
Thomas Younghans just landed an enormous checkout with a 144. Can he go better by 6 points? Has to stay there, surely. No, he opted to switch.
130.
And then, annoyingly for him, he goes and nails the second treble 20.
Yeah, that's got to be frustrating. But that is not what James Beaton wanted. Goes outside the board, one dart at double 18.
32.
And he says,
Thomas Unicorn 12.
what are you doing to himself?
I think we're all thinking that.
Let's give Sean the second part. Thomas Unicorn. Third leg is Thomas through first. Game on.
A game that has swung back and forth. It is Younghans now throwing for the set and to take us all the way to that fifth set. $132. That's a good start to doing that.
Half a dozen 180s for James Beaton.
Yeah, the maximum's flying in for James Beaton this afternoon. And that's just the response he would have wanted after his last visit to the board, that 50 checkout. Would have been very frustrating how that ended up, but a 180.
60.
You don't see many players going for 14, double 18 or 50. It's either the 10s or the 18s. I kind of get aiming towards the double though, because if you do hit double 14, you just got to go underneath for double 11.
Yeah, I can't say I've seen someone go double 14, double 11. I might have to try that myself, because usually I'll just go straight for the ball and miss. James Beaton is not missing that treble 20, is he? Two 180s in this leg, and he's against the Younghans throw. So a chance to break, and
60.
if he can then hold,
James Unicorn
all
81.
the pressure is going to be on Thomas Younghans.
25 and bolt. Now decides to
41.
go the
Thomas
17
Unicorn
route.
150.
You don't want to give Thomas Younghans too many chances with these long ranges.
$41. James Unicorn 40.
Tops for Beaton.
That's the James Beaton.
He has got the
Four
throw.
leg is James through first. Game on.
Almost surprised himself there when he saw that he was throwing first, but a great leg against the darts. Now looking to hold.
85.
There was a big leg in the third set going all the way. If we go all the way here, it's either James Beaton through to that third round, or we are going all the way and Thomas Younghans is keeping his place in the tournament.
57.
Decent weight to those darts, but just lost the line as he gesticulated to then.
Younghans drifted into that treble one as well.
43.
Doesn't make the most of that poor visit from Beaton. Back comes Younghans with a maximum. That's how you punish your opponent.
They've been fewer and further between for the Swiss, just the second 180.
46.
It could be the best timed one.
Yeah, just the right time for Younghans. Although that was not perfect timing for that single one. Recovers it well with a treble 20.
80.
To leave himself the 141. Beaton now. Going down to the 19s. Won't leave himself a finish.
58. Thomas Unicorn, 141.
So after a 13 darter from Beaton in the last leg, this is the chance for Thomas Younghans that he would have wanted.
105. James Unicorn, 120. Thomas Unicorn, 20.
Threw the last dart away very quickly. Thomas Younghans steals a march. What a time to get a break of throw.
First. Game on.
Yeah, put together some big scores in that last leg. The 121, the 140, putting the pressure on Beaton, who couldn't take that 120 finish. Younghans pinning the double 10.
58.
But first visit without a treble. An early opening for James Beaton. He profits on that opening score of 58 with a ton.
99.
Eighth 180 perhaps.
140.
Not quite. This has been a good response from Beaton. Not too disheartened by the break of throw, clearly.
Yeah, it's a game that both players will have felt very
43.
comfortable, like they were heading for victory, and then at times feeling like they're struggling and that the game's drifting away from them. And it's happened already in this set. Younghans taking the opening leg, breaking the throw, but a great response
97.
from the 21-year-old Beats, who leaves the finish after 9 darts. And Younghans will need at least 2 trebles to join him.
140. James Unicorn, 164. Thomas Unicorn,
Oh, that was a mess.
161.
A really bad time to go wayward.
Both players just drifting away from the segments they're aiming for.
44. James Unicorn, 122.
not a bad guide. Treble 18 for the ball. Just the other side of the wire.
54.
So Younghans here.
117.
A 117 for a 2-0 lead. Starts on the 19s, will work his way back up. Finds the treble 20, it's double 19 for a 117.
Let's give Sheldon a second one.
That's a 2-0 lead for Thomas Younghans. Another ton plus finish. An interesting route there. We don't often see players starting on the 19s there.
180.
Well, that 117 could be monstrous, but James Beaton roars back.
Yeah, that Maximum just saying, I'm not done yet.
180.
Thomas Younghans concurs. He's not done.
Both players trading maximums.
81.
Beaton 2-0 down in this deciding set, but he has the throw in this leg. If he goes all the way, it will have the throw in the decider.
100.
He's got to win all of the remaining 3 legs. Younghans just needing one more to book his spot in the last 16 for a second consecutive year here at the Lakeside.
100. James required 140.
He's the treble 20.
60. Thomas required 164.
This is for the match.
Not going to get a go. We have seen Thomas pin the bullseye already. You're not going to get particularly close.
78. James required 80.
A finish that James Beaton has already taken out in this match. He needs it here to stay in the tournament. Another single. Oh, he goes outside.
40.
Is that going to be it for James Beaton on his Lakeside debut?
Well, there's the lack of consistency that we highlighted from James. Match dart miss for Thomas.
54.
2 of them.
James required 40.
A reprieve for James Beaton. Younghans, after hitting that treble 18 with his first dart, would have been a big favourite to get the job done. Misses the 2 darts at double 16, so it's tops to keep this match alive. 1 dart left.
20.
He goes low.
Thomas required 32.
A look of resignation on Beaton's face. Will experience triumph. Good luck getting that through.
16.
Yeah, he really wasn't sure which way to move across the oche there, Thomas Younghans. That second dart really did block the target, and once again, Beaton surviving those match darts. Double 10. Now double 5. Again, 1 more dart left.
15.
And he can't.
Thomas requires 60.
The double, so this is for the match.
Surely Thomas has to step up, and he does. And that was a cracking game of darts. A real roller coaster. Beaton and Younghans trading blows. Make no mistake, James Beaton is a player who has got a very bright future ahead of him. But today was not his day. The extra experience of Younghans came through. 8 180s for Beaton, but it is Younghans who wins 3 sets to 2.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for the young man who has a bright, bright future ahead of him, James Beaton. And into round 3, Thomas Younghans. Ladies and gentlemen, 1 more match to go this afternoon. 10-minute break, and we will be back with our final match
3-1 to Oliver Ferranche. But there have been some promising signs of late for Ryan Hogarth, reaching the semi-finals of the Irish Open, losing to a man who we've just seen in action in James Beaton. But Jarno Bottenberg is a player who won that Dutch Open in stunning style, a tops finish, 1-3-1 to defeat Wesley Pleisier. If you can win a tournament with more than 3,000 entrants, you've got something going for you. Straight sets victory for him against Matthew Edgar on Saturday evening. It was an impressive performance, and therefore Hogarth might be another seed who's in danger, Andrew Sinclair.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is an incredibly evenly matched game. Ryan is a very capable player, but not necessarily shown his best on a World Championship stage. Did pick up a win at the O2 against Thibaut Tricol, but wasn't anywhere near the standard that Ryan is capable of. But Jarno picked up a win here last year and picked up a win on Saturday night. So, you know, he's possibly shown himself to be the strongest stage player so far.
100.
As per usual, he's accompanied by a large clan of fans, friends in Jarno Bottenberg replica shirts. His brother Yuri has come over and a few other friends from the Netherlands. Very well supported player.
Absolutely.
140.
We'll be hoping that it's better fortunes for him than it was for his friend Moreno Blom last night, who was beaten in straight sets by Paul Lim.
First to a finish, Ryan Hogarth on 169, a bogey number. Treble 19 would leave it handy on double 16, that's exactly what he's done.
Now we require 100 next.
Double 16. First blood to the cake. Jarno Bottenberg make that look a piece of cake.
Second leg, Jarno to throw first. Game on.
You mentioned the Irish Open. Killarney has been a place where Ryan's played some of his best starts in 2023. He got to the final of the sort of early arrivals tournament, the Killarney Open that they play on the Friday. He lost to Shane McGurk, and then the next day, the Saturday, the Gold Irish Open, he lost to Shane McGurk in the final again. And then this year, went back, he won the Killarney Open on the Friday, played very, very well to do so, averaged just shy of a ton, and then, as you say, on the Sunday, in the gold-ranked Irish Open, he fell short in the semi-finals. But, yeah, Killarney's always been a place that's been a happy hunting ground for the headhunter, who has had a really strong end to the season. He wasn't really in the mix for qualification, but really hit the board back in July, August time and racked up a lot of points in a short amount of time.
Ryan Hogarth and Shane McGurk could possibly meet, but only in the final. They're in different halves of the draw.
Yep.
97.
Jarno secured his place at Lakeside with that Dutch Open win, and because of that, he's not really played too many WDF events this year, focusing more on the PDC. Lost in the last 32 of the World Youth Championship to the eventual runner-up, Jorgen van der Velde.
Absolutely, picked up his form towards the back end of the year on the development tour, Jarno. I think it was back-to-back semis in the last couple of events, or at least a couple of semi-finals late on in the Challenge development tour.
Bottenberg has made a confident start to this one, averaging 96.
60.
It's been a similar start from Jarno to the way he played against Matthew Edgar.
100.
Confidence, high, just full belief in his own abilities, and a very mature and assured display for
180.
young man who, you know, despite his youth, has played here twice. Has a young son at home as well, Jarno. Remember seeing him pushing the pushchair around Lakeside last year.
97. Ryan, you require 164.
Decided to have a go rather than lay up.
132. You require 161.
Fabulous shot though. This would be even better. Bullseye for Jarno.
136. Ryan, you require 32. Game to the third leg.
16 gets Ryan on the board.
Fourth leg, Jarno to throw first. Game on.
You were telling me before we came on air that Ryan's one of those players who doesn't actually like playing here.
Yeah, we had this. Me and him have had this conversation a couple of times. I think it's similar to the point I made to you on commentary about Eileen de Graaf. I think it's just a small stage. It can sometimes be quite cold within the venue. I just think it's perhaps for Ryan, it's being haunted by that first experience here when he fell short against Oliver Ferenc of Serbia. But yeah, I think he would like a slightly different environment. But anyway, you can pick up a win is a good venue and a happy place for you. So I'm sure if he gets the monkey off his back, so to speak, and books a spot in the last 16 today, he might have a change of opinion. Catch up with him later on.
100.
We had an interesting conversation actually earlier today, Ryan and myself, because I noticed that he was sharpening his points while he was practicing, and he said that he'd actually bought one of these mission boards
171.
especially for the purposes of practicing on, because he knew that he'd be playing on one here at the lakeside, and he found that he had been at home getting a few bounce outs. So he felt that was a product of actually the board being a little bit too soft for the sort of points and darts that Ryan uses. So he was just sharpening them to get a bit more grip, and so far it seems to have worked quite well for him. But Jarno in the driver's seat and does opt for the ball first route.
100.
Well, Ryan just had to pause because I think one of his flights fell out and he didn't realise he stepped up. Treble 19 leaves double 19. Oh, the 19s are happy for Ryan. And what a roll that was.
Absolutely, a very emotional reaction from Ryan, who is normally quite a quiet player actually, but I think maybe aware that the Dutch support in the building for Jarno are quite vocal, and maybe he has to be his own cheerleader a little bit on this occasion.
84. 100. 121.
Jarno has been incredibly relaxed since arriving at Lakeside. We saw him in the hotel bar last night with his table of friends and colleagues, with a stereo blasting out some Dutch techno,
100.
bursting many an eardrum in the process.
I have to admit,
180.
he does have a very catchy walk-on tune, Mr. Bottenberg, which was on the... I'm not sure if it was on the playlist last night, but it certainly was on Saturday night when he was in jubilant mood after that very impressive win over Matthew Edgar.
I don't think it's a playlist, it's a loop.
36. Ryan, your pile 136.
Wrong side of the wire.
25.
It's a poor visit from Ryan. Puts Bottenberg in the driving seat.
43. Ryan, you require 111.
Felt like those darts were rushed. Double 16 for the first set. That is a mega comeback from Ryan Hogarth. 114 followed by a 111.
Second set, first
And the
leg,
Scotsman
Charles,
is
throw
determined to make the most of this opportunity.
first. 100. 100. 140. 140.
These two have never met before,
100.
but I think the rhythm is quite similar for both players, so it seems to be suiting them.
Absolutely.
91. Yana, you require 161. 81. Ryan, you require 170.
Both players drifting into the one segment.
I don't want to stay there. Switches.
80.
Use himself. Yep.
Yana, you require 80.
What do I know?
More one drift.
40. Ryan, you require 90.
Now Ryan got a good chance to punish.
Fourth visit in a row where a dart has hit the single one.
Yep. And just a loud shout of his own name.
36. Yana, you require 40.
Very costly.
Games at the first leg.
Bottenberg
Yana
nails
Bottenberg.
tops. We've seen him do that
Second is
before.
Ryan to throw first.
Yeah, Ryan coming into the midpoint of the year, he hadn't played an awful lot on the WDF circuit. Had some points from Ireland with that run to the Irish Open final, and had picked up some at
134.
the Isle of Man weekend as well, but wasn't in a comfortable position. Took some time off. Was actually spending a lot of his time playing cricket up in his
60.
native Scotland, and then, you know, one night in the summer he was having a drink and a throw down the pub with his dad, and
57.
he looked at the calendar and thought, you know what, I've got a lot of empty boxes on the ranking table, and if I go to what looks like a quite inviting cluster of events, because we had a weekend down in Ilfracombe, there was Chelsea, the British Open, the Welsh Open, he felt there were a lot of good opportunities for points for him, and he made the most of them, and had a really good run in Sweden as well, which he admitted to me that he felt quite rusty in Sweden, but a run to semi-finals of the Swedish Open I think reassured him that
26.
the game was still there, and that regular match experience would be the thing that got him back to where he wanted to be. And not long after that there was a
80.
final in Chelsea where he came short against, and we'll see in action later tonight, Rhys Colley.
Not Coley Reese.
Not Coley Reese.
59.
He was Coley Reese on that day, but
90.
think back to Rhys Colley today.
Gone back to his birth name, has it? Double 18 for Jarno Bottenberg.
54.
Afforded the chance to miss with Hogarth not on a finish. 180 would leave double 8. That's the target. That's the execution.
180. Yana, you require 36.
Some real swaggering from both players.
Games at the second leg. Yana Bottenberg.
Jarno seeing the funny
Third
side.
leg, Yana to throw first. Game on.
It is nice to see the guys playing with a little bit of edge in their game. There certainly was towards the end of the last game as well, which was impressively won in the end by Thomas Younghans.
James Beaton did certainly display a lot of his talent on the Lakeside stage, though, particularly in the scoring stakes.
Absolutely.
8 180s.
Yep. The most of anyone in one game so far at the tournament. Previous record was Brian Roman with 7. And Brian, if you're listening, yes, I have just mentioned you again. Just think you're playing really well, mate. So keep up the good work.
99.
Potentially interesting tie for whoever comes through this, because they might face the tournament favourite, Jimmy van Schie, in the last 16, although Sweden's Bjorn Leon will have something to say about that.
78.
Yeah, Bjorn showed good patience and battling instincts when he beat Patrick Kovac on Saturday. But a very different proposition in front of him in terms of Jimmy, and not just in terms of their physical build, with Jimmy being some considerable bit taller than Patrick. But yeah, I mean, Jimmy's already here. Saw him out in the back room having a practice earlier as well, so he's getting himself ready to go in our first game of the evening.
Double 12. 3 legs on the bounce for Jarno Bottenberg, and he levels the game up going into the break. Ryan hasn't had a chance in this second set. It's complete domination from the Dutchman, and like Thomas Younghans, James Beaton, it already has the feel of a game that could go the distance. At the break, it's Ryan Hogarth 1, Jarno Bottenberg.
Not miss. And the men's and women's champions go to Lakeside in December 2025. The Isle of Man International Darts Festival is held from March 6th to 9th, a triple header of darting fun on the Isle of Man with the Silver and Bronze Classic and Masters and the Unranked Open. In Toronto. The Swiss Open and Helvetia Open tournaments are held from May 30th till June the 1st. One of the longest running tournaments in Europe invites you to join them in between the most beautiful surroundings. The Swedish Open and Masters takes place from 15th to 17th of August. A popular tournament for many of Europe's best arrowsmiths, the double silver weekend always provides great entertainment. The Latvian Open and Riga Open are held from October 17th to 19th. One of the biggest tournament weekends in the Baltic region is near the end of the 2025 WDF season. An excellent chance to pick up your much-needed points in this silver and bronze weekend. For more information on each of these tournaments, go to the link in the description. A special thanks to our tournament sponsors and partners, Mission, Blaze, Quiff, Great Game, Dart Connect, L-Style and MasterCooler.com.
Double 8 landed in the bottom corner.
Second leg, Jarno to throw first. Game on.
It was the first dart that Ryan's had at a double in 3 legs, and he pulled it low and right really badly. Won't inject too much confidence into him.
No, but he'll be keen not to beat himself up too much. A good catch there from Jarno with the last dart to take 82, but these drifts to the right not helping Ryan.
24.
And now there's that. A big visit from Jarno will really punish him here.
140.
Must be such a help for Jarno knowing that he's got
26.
his fans, his friends in the corner, and Ryan's support obviously muted, so Jarno's using the crowd to his advantage here.
100.
And I've got the sense a little bit in this leg that Ryan is getting a bit frustrated.
58.
Not that Jarno's support are getting after him particularly, but more, as you say, there is that vocal support for his opponent.
99.
And he, at the moment, is struggling.
45.
We'll want to scratch this one from the record.
A real average buster, those scoring visits.
40.
Even a 180 won't leave a finish. That's how adrift he is.
100.
It's a better visit. They were all straight, and the last one finds the treble.
Double 10.
20.
of a sudden.
140.
Big pressures on Jarno to take out double 10.
Jarno, you require 20.
Hogarth was nowhere near at the start. Jarno Bottenberg's feeling charitable.
Ryan, you require 100 minutes.
2 ton plus checkouts already. Seen Jarno hit 108.
He did the treble to leave double 16.
Jarno, you require 5.
Now Ryan comes back for a 2 darter. If Jarno doesn't find double 2.
Ladies and the second leg, Jarno Bottenberg. Third leg is Ryan to throw first. Game on.
I think the whole of Surrey could hear that.
62.
Yeah.
Unfortunately for Jarno, that leg has dragged his average down to 91. Was around the 96 region. That's the highest we've seen in the tournament so far from Shane McGurk.
137.
And we are informed that that is the most perfect doubling display in Lakeside history.
Yeah.
58.
I think some people have been very kindly referring to me as an oracle this week, but the man I would always defer to for all forms of statistical knowledge, Mr. Richard Ashdown. I saw he'd done a deep dive and a trawl and said, yeah, that looked like the only game that was. Doubling perfection from Shane.
100.
At work today, the man from Monaghan, but he'll be back with us tomorrow, looking to produce another impressive performance.
77. 98. Ryan, you require 167.
This has been much better leg from Ryan. So he has got 6 from 167, but he'll want as few to use as few as possible.
97. 100. Ryan, you require 70.
Ryan needs to start picking these shots off. Double top. Much better from the Scotsman.
Ryan Hogarth. Fourth leg is Jarno to throw first. Game on.
Yeah, that stops the rot of 5 on the bounce from Jarno.
180.
And that might restart the rot.
Yeah.
45.
No treble from Ryan.
97. 41.
And after some straighter, truer visits towards the back end of the second leg and the third leg, Ryan started drifting and struggling to find the trebles. That's better. Much better.
134. Jarno require 140. 24.
Terrible setup, but if you're going to do it when your opponent's on 281.
100. Jarno require 116.
Couldn't quite slide it underneath. Treble 20 would have left double 18.
It's a much better dart from Jarno.
Good thinking as well. He didn't like the lie of the first 2.
65.
So Ryan leaves himself on what Jarno was on, but it might all be for naught.
Games on the third set. Jarno Bottenberg.
Bottenberg turning this game on its head. one set away from victory.
First set, first leg, it's Jarno to throw first. Game on.
The good thing with being a Dutch Open winner is the fact that Jarno has played games of a similar length and similar format.
125.
Absolutely. Biggest Open in the world, finishes with that wonderful set format.
80.
We're back there, platinum ranked again at the beginning of February. What will actually be the second automatic qualification event of the year. In January we head to Las Vegas for the gold rank Las Vegas Open, which last year titles went to Fallon Sherrock and Jacob Taylor. Interesting to see who triumphs on this occasion. And then in terms of automatic events, it's the Dutch Open,
78.
then the South Australian Classic, and then it's over to Germany. Welcome return for Germany to the WDF circuit with the Bochum Darts Open. So could well be tapping into that incredibly impressive German market to bring some more darting talents over to Lakeside next year.
100.
Indeed, only one German participant in the men's draw.
Jarno require
Liam Mandel
138.
Lawrence, we'll see later.
86. Ryan require 167.
This could change everything. There was only a slim
99.
chance.
Jarno require 52.
Double top. Double 10. He's had a
32.
few problems on that side of the
Ryan
board.
require 68.
Had wondered if he would go for the 2016s route. That's been kind to him. That's not been kind to Ryan though. Drags it down into the 7, so no finish when there really should have been at least one on the outer ring this time round.
26. Jarno, you require 20.
Curious last start as well there.
Can only assume it's a miscount. He's coming back though.
No score. Ryan, you require 42.
And these sorts of scrappier legs when, oh dear, that leaves 6 for 16.
Nothing will convince me. Double 4.
Game
14
on the
down
second
response
leg.
from
Jarno
Jarno
Bottenberg.
Bottenberg. Well, as long as he avoids double 10, I think Jarno might be all right.
Third leg, it's Jarno to throw first. Game on. 180.
Jarno looking to make a move.
100.
I think Ryan was trying to inject a little bit of pace there. Our referee Christian Sorensen had barely, well, he hadn't even finished his 180 call and Ryan's first start was already in the board.
Treble 18.
174.
Superb. What a leg this has been from Bottenberg.
Yeah, maximum a 174. Leaves him on the finish after 12.
Jarno require 32. No score.
But Ryan not in a position to punish with himself back on 163, and that's not going to help him either.
61.
Very scruffy setup.
Jarno require 32.
Doesn't even get him down to a 2 darter. Jarno's needing multiple chances though. This time he takes it first time.
Fourth leg is Ryan to throw first. Game on.
Ryan just struggling to consistently stay straight, drifting into the one, and then comes down the board, and that 3 is becoming an unwanted friend. But that is an uncharacteristically poor visit from Jarno, and more troubles like that will punish him.
140. 134. 80.
A Robin Hood there prevents Ryan from getting down to a finish.
171.
A very successful chase of all the big trebles.
58.
Wants to stay there to try and leave double 16.
140.
That's a magical dart.
140.
A lovely adjustment to the right-hand side. And he will get match darts.
100. Jarno, you require 32.
For a place in the last 16 for this year's Dutch Open winner. Jarno Bottenberg is making his mark on the lakeside stage. Ryan Hogarth not offering his hand. He is so unhappy. He believes that there was some encroachment along the way. But Bottenberg was the better player throughout. The session ends with Needle on stage with Jarno Bottenberg, ski of your layoff.
Ladies and gentlemen, first of all, let's round of applause for Ryan Hogarth. And the man playing in his second World Championship marches on into the last 16, Jarno Bottenberg. And that does bring to a conclusion our afternoon session here at the lakeside. Have you all had a good day? Who's coming back tonight? Fantastic. Well, if you are here for the evening session, you are more than welcome to stay in the venue. The security staff will be around to check all your tickets, but you are welcome to stay, make use of the bar and the catering. If you do not have a ticket for this evening session, unfortunately, we must ask you to start making your way to the doors. Thank you all very much indeed, and we'll see you for the evening session at 7 o'clock. Thank you.
That you should